Holy shit, I just saw Pirates of the Caribbean Part 5, Dead Men Tell No Tales. I saw this movie in IMAX at the mall, and I hadn't slept in over 24 hours prior to seeing the movie, so I was like on the verge of passing out and like losing my life force. So before the movie, to make sure I didn't fall asleep, because I'm the most passing out, narcoleptic, napping motherfucker who ever lived. Before the movie, to make sure that I could stay alert for pirates, I downed like 5 Red Bulls, like a Street Fighter 2 Guile Sonic Boom energy drink from the stuff store. My favorite store, it's the stuff store. They sell everything. And a huge, like the largest possible espresso from Starbucks. So I downed this concoction, this witch's brew of energy drinks and caffeine. And then I go and sit in this gigantic IMAX theater, which if you've ever been at an IMAX, you know, the screen is like as big as 100 King Kong asses, and the sound is just hitting you from all sides. It's like you're inside a movie. It's like you're inside a jet engine with just movie sounds and movie images flying at your face. And I'm sitting there in this state of mind, in this physical mode where like I'm still about to pass out. Like I can feel that my eyes are tired and I'm like groggy and I don't really know where I am, but I can also feel my heart going like 200 beating through my chest. So I'm sitting there in the IMAX theater waiting for the movie to start, not sure if I'm going to pass out and die first or if my heart is going to explode and kill me first. And then the trailers start, and there was like 30 trailers before this movie, and there's fucking Transformers flying at me, shit's exploding, there's Michael Bay stuff, you know, Optimus Prime, they're going back in time in this one. I don't know if this is like the 7th Transformers movie or something, but all kinds of shit, everything's blowing up, the whole world is exploding, there's noise, there's kablamo, kablamo. Then there's a trailer for like the Mummy reboot. The Mummy is hot now, she's a hot babe, and she's destroying the whole world, everything's destroying, there's sandstorms everywhere, and then there's a trailer for fucking Wonder Woman, and she's got the things, and she's blocking the bullets off of her wrists, and she's throwing the lasso and smashing stuff. There's army tanks, things are blowing up, and then there's a Thor, and the Thor is fighting the Hulk, and it's big, and it's kablamo, and then there's a Spider-Man, and then the Spider-Man trailer fucking sucked. It revealed the entire movie, it spoiled the whole movie. This trailer pissed me off so much. All the trailers were great. Every movie looks amazing, but the Spider-Man trailer pissed me off so much because they spoiled like the entire movie, like every goddamn story beat in the movie. You don't even need to see it now. And then there's a fucking, you know, there's all these trailers, and there's a fucking Star Wars trailer. I don't even give a shit about Star Wars. Star Wars is fucking gay, but you get the point. There's all these big trailers, kablamo, and I'm like in the middle of it in this IMAX theater. It's like 2001: A Space Odyssey. Like I'm fucking traveling through like a sonic vortex, like this hoary void in space, this black hole, and the pressure and the noise, and it's like it's blowing my mind and warping my brain and killing me. And it's so that's the mind state that I'm seeing this in. So finally the movie starts, and so the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, if you don't know, is actually the greatest movie franchise of all movie franchises. This is a fact. It's been scientifically proven. There are documents and studies that prove what I'm saying is the truth. A lot of people don't want to believe that. A lot of people are naysayers. You know, these movies, each one that comes out, there's like worse reviews than the last one. Critics never get it. Nobody ever wants to have fun anymore at a movie theater. Nobody appreciates pirates anymore like I do. You know, every time I think that there can never be a more endless jest movie than the last Pirates movie, they make a new Pirates movie. It seems like nobody liked the 4th Pirates of the Caribbean movie. It seems like nobody's liking this. I'm looking at Rotten Tomatoes right now, and of course, it's got the critic score is like really low, and the audience score is like way higher. There's this huge gap, like there always is, because critics are the most stuffy, pretentious, pompous assholes in the world, and they all should be fucking keel-hauled. Nobody wants to admit or acknowledge. None of the snooty film snobs ever want to acknowledge that these movies are all perfect and amazing and wonderful. And that the stupider they get, the better they get. That's what nobody wants to accept about these movies. But you just have to see it in the mindset that I'm in when I see these movies. Like the mindset that I was in this one. I'm in this IMAX theater, I'm on this concoction of chemicals. I feel like I'm simultaneously on cocaine and morphine. I'm like halfway between this world and the realm of the dead. And also burst linking literally the speed of the Flash at the same time. Here's what it is about the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, why it seems like each one gets worse reviews than the last one, why it seems like the franchise is going downhill, even though it's just getting cooler. The problem with the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise is that the first movie is a legit perfect masterpiece. Like, it's a perfect film. So if you go into these movies, like, expecting them to make sense, and expecting them to be, like, narratively coherent like the first movie was, you're always going to be severely and savagely disappointed. That's not the way to go into these movies. That window closed. That ship has sailed a long time ago, my friend. The ship of Pirates of the Caribbean movies even attempting to make sense. You have the first movie for that. If you want to see a film, a good film, then the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie will always exist. It's a perfect film. It's a masterpiece. But if you want to drink a fucking Street Fighter II Guile Sonic Boom energy drink and a Starbucks espresso and 10 Red Bulls and shoot up a bunch of pixie stick dust into your nutsack and go sit in an IMAX theater and have your brain melt out of your ear holes, that's why they keep making pirate sequels. And that's why they keep getting more and more asinine and more cool. And this movie was the coolest and most asinine yet. This was absolutely the most ridiculous, retarded spectacle that you could ever see. It was big, it was loud, it was stupid, it was asinine, it was a clusterfuck, it made absolutely no sense, and it's a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. Like, I tweeted about it, and someone, like, tweeted me back, wait, you actually liked the new Pirates of the Caribbean movie? Of course I fucking liked it! Who the hell do you think you're talking to? Who the hell do you think I am? I'm Inlet G, baby! This movie was like what is going on inside my brain at all times. If you could see like a visual metaphor of the inside of my mind, it's just this movie. It's just fucking like weird pirate ghosts with missing body parts and fucking the ocean splitting in half and vortex water tornadoes throwing people around, ships exploding, ships eating other ships like a fucking animal in the wild. Just this cacophonous maelstrom of carnage and mayhem and fuckery where anything can happen. Everyone's crazy, nothing makes any sense, and somehow you always end up on a beach. That's how I see the world. 24/7, that's what it's like to be me. So the movie starts out, and it's Will Turner's kid, who's like a little boy now. He's like at least 10. And he's trying to find his daddy, because Will Turner he's the captain of the Dutchman, right? He's cursed to be the lord of all seas for all time. He can only come to shore once every 10 years for one day, and then he's got to fuck off back to the bottom of the ocean. So the movie starts out with Will Turner's kid, and Will Turner is trying to go see his daddy. So he rows out a little canoe into the middle of the ocean in like the middle of the night, and he ties a fucking rock to his feet and hurls himself overboard and sinks to the bottom of the ocean because that's just how he visits his dad. I don't know if he's done it before or if this is the first time he's ever done it. I don't know why he's so confident that this will work and not just kill him, but that's what he does. He fucking ties a rock to his foot and hurls himself off a canoe and sinks to the bottom of the ocean to see Will. And it works. He gets to the Dutchman, and he's talking to Will. I mean, I guess, because he's underwater, he's on the Dutchman talking to Will. I guess he killed himself by hurling him. In the Pirates of the Caribbean movie franchise, here's the rule. Everybody gets to die once. Death is not the end for anyone. Everyone gets at least 2 lives. You get to die. You get to either go to hell or go to another realm, or become a fish monster, or a ghost, or a skelly man, and you get to come back at least once. That's the law of the land. So I guess this kid just used up his one free death. Everybody gets one, and so he sinks to the bottom. He's on the Dutchman, and he sees his dad. And Will comes out, and Will's like, "What the hell are you doing here? You can't be out in the ocean killing yourself like some kind of pirate. You can't be out there turning into a ghost or a skelly man. You're supposed to be a real boy. You're supposed to be a good boy. My boy. I turned into a scary barnacle man so that you could live a normal life. That was my sacrifice, you little shit." But the kid is talking to his dad. He's like, "No, Daddy, I'm gonna find a way. I'm gonna grow up and I'm gonna find a way to break your curse and free you from your role as the captain of the Dutchman. I'm gonna find a way to make you a normal man again. I'll go find Jack Sparrow, and we'll help you out. And Will goes, don't hang out with Jack Sparrow. That guy is retarded. He'll make you retarded too. That's what he does. He's a walking cancer. He makes everyone he comes into contact with irreparably retarded. Everything he touches turns into a fucking Disneyland ride. But then from there, it immediately flashes forward to 9 years later, and the kid, Henry, is grown up now. That's the plot of the movie. He's trying to free Will Turner from the Curse of the Dutchman. He tells Will, when he's a kid, the only way to free him is to find Poseidon's trident, which is, the mystical MacGuffin of this movie. And Will tells him that he doesn't believe that the trident exists. It's a myth. It can't be real. You can never find it. It's not a real thing. Keep in mind, all the weird shit, all the weird magical shit in this movie. Will Turner himself is the undead Lord of all oceans barnacle man who sails a ship at the bottom of the sea with a crew of fish people. But he doesn't believe that Poseidon's trident is a real thing. That's going too far. That's just ridiculous. Poseidon's trident. Get the fuck out of here. Quit believing in fairy stories, son. Grow up and devote yourself to something real, like being a fish person, like your old man. So anyways, it's all these years later, and Henry is on some ship with the Navy, and the ship, they go into the Devil's Triangle, and he goes, don't go in there. I've been studying spooky ocean stuff my entire life. I know all the myths and the curses, and if you go into the Devil's Triangle, if you sail into there, you'll die. There'll be a monster. There'll be ghosts. There'll be dragons. And, of course, the Navy doesn't believe him. They go, fuck you. You don't know what you're talking about. So they sail into the Devil's Triangle, and, of course, immediately they are attacked by spooky pirate ghosts. And this guy and his undead crew come aboard the ship, and this is the villain of the movie. He's the arch nemesis of all pirates, Salazar Slytherin. Yes, the very same. The famous wizard who founded House Slytherin. Turns out he is also the undead arch nemesis of all pirates. So these spooky dukes come aboard the ship, and the designs of these guys are really fucking cool. They did this thing where, there's parts of them missing. They're still moving around as if their body is complete, but there's clearly, holes in their body. It's hard to describe, but I mean, it shows, the bird, it's a part of its leg is missing, but it's still standing on its leg. It's the top of its leg, and then there's a foot, and somehow it's standing on a disembodied foot as though the leg is still there, even though there's a fucking hole. And one guy's missing his entire head. And, the designs were really cool, really spooky. I got spooked. In my altered state of being, I believed that these were real spooky Duke pirate ghosts on the screen coming at me in my IMAX theater in this hoary nether realm of the IMAX theater where I'm sitting in the middle. By the way, the entire theater was empty because it's a Tuesday, and so me and my secretary had the entire theater to ourselves. All of this is happening. This is not a movie. This is not a movie that is being played on a screen. This is a real thing that is happening in front of me and all around me. I'm in the middle of it, and these spooky Duke pirate ghosts, Salazar Slytherin, is coming for me. And I'm spooked right out of my trousers. I'm white-knuckling the seat, oh my god, get these spooky dukes out of here! Help! Let me out! Oh god, where was I? So the spooky dukes kill everybody, except for Henry, and the head spooky duke, Slytherin. He comes up, and he goes, you go find Jack Sparrow, and you tell him that I'm going to come and beat him up. I'm going to find him, me and my spooky crew, and we are going to beat him up. Hashtag beat up Jack Sparrow. So anyways, then it's in some town. It goes to some town, and there's a bank being opened or something, and they open the vault, and surprise, it's Jack Sparrow. He's in the vault. He's, he's up to some wacky hijinks. Some classic Jack Sparrow antics. He's drunk. He's asleep in the vault. There's a girl in there too, I think. I don't know. He's they're doing a big crazy pirate scheme. And he goes, look at me. Johnny Depp at this point is no longer playing Captain Jack Sparrow. Johnny Depp is playing your uncle's impression of Jack Sparrow at a Halloween party. The character has been so flanderized at this point that he is no longer a mortal man. He has become like Puck, like an otherworldly, dimensional god of mischief and nonsense. He's become the living embodiment of Dionysus, the god of wine and tomfoolery. Johnny Depp in this movie is playing James Arnold Taylor as Captain Jack Sparrow in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Ha! There! For you! Sora! Donald! Goofy! That hurt. Oh well. How's this on you? Beg your pardon? Did you miss me? Very well. In need of a pirate, eh? Right you are. So kind of you.
It's like an impression of himself. So Mr. Gibbs is there, and the midget is there, and a little crew of pirates, and they're stealing a bank vault, and they're on horses, and they tie the bank vault to the horses, and they drag the bank vault. They end up dragging the entire bank itself, like, through the streets. And that's the big, imaginative, set piece, wacky, action-y thing that's happening. Is Captain Jack is running around. He's running from the Navy boys, and they're dragging an entire bank, and he's on the rooftop, and he's going over other rooftops. They're dragging a building through the streets on horseback, which, I mean, these must be the most powerful horses in the history of mankind. These are Super Saiyan horses operating at maximum horsepower. They were training in the hyperbolic horse chamber, aka my furnace room, for thousands of years to achieve the power level necessary to drag an entire building through the streets. And they're dragging this building through the streets, and I think it was Mr. Gibbs. Somebody said, well, that wasn't part of the plan. And I'm like, wait, what? What the hell was the plan then? Was the plan that they were going to somehow drag the bank vault, like, through the wall and just drag the bank vault? Because that's just as insane. Why would they think that they could drag a bank vault through a brick wall on horseback? The fact that they ended up dragging the entire building is almost more plausible. But anyways, they're having this big wacky chase in the streets. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, there's this woman character, the female lead. Oh boy. So this character is introduced, and she's in jail. And the priest is there, like, reading her rights. She's about to be executed for being a witch. And, of course, it's that. It's exactly what you think it is. Every word out of this fucking character's mouth for the duration of the entire film is, I am not a witch, and people are stupid and superstitious for believing in witches. I am a woman of science. I know about astronomy. I know about, I'm smart, and I'm smarter than everyone, and I can pick the lock while I'm talking to the priest and escape. That's the note that she begins the movie on, and that's the note that she stays on for the entire movie. And as soon as this character opened her mouth and started talking about, I'm not a witch, you superstitious chauvinist pig, this backwards patriarchal society, I'm a woman who knows science, the moment she opened her mouth, I knew that this is all she's going to say for the rest of the movie, and I knew that I'm going to fucking hate this character. So that's what this character is. She's science girl, she's not a witch girl. Every word out of her mouth for the entire movie is, you're all dumb and superstitious for believing in witches, and I am not a witch. I am not a witch, I'm a woman of science, I believe in science. Now keep in mind that this is a universe where a 50-foot woman turns into 1,000 crabs. Where you can access the realm of the dead and rescue a person from death by tipping over a ship and going into, like, the underside of the world under the water. This is a universe where pirate ghosts walk on the bottom of the ocean and turn into skeletons in the moonlight, where there's a magical ship full of fish people and barnacle people, led by a guy who's cursed forever. His heart is in a box. Everybody dies twice. Everybody's a ghost. Everybody has, like, spooky powers. And this woman can't say 5 words to anybody without going, you're an idiot for believing in witches. Okay then, witches is going too far. Voodoo priestesses is fine. People coming back from the dead. Lobster men. Curses, mermaids. All of that is par for the course, but there is no such goddamn thing as witches. And damn this backwards patriarchal old-timey society for condemning women as witches. And they do lampshade that. They go, everything that's happened to us has been magic, and you're over here talking about science and shit. They lampshade it, but it's still fucking retarded. I mean, like, when they take her to, like, her execution at the beginning of the movie, she's in a cart with a bunch of witches. Like, actual witches. She's in a cart. I mean, she looks like a pretty supermodel, like a beautiful woman. Her skin is clearer than anyone's skin could ever be, especially in this time. But she's in this cart going to the gallows, in a cart full of actual witches. Like, these women in the cart with her are clearly witches. Witches clearly exist. They've got like the ratty shawls and the white hair, the spooky eyes. They're they're brewing a fucking cauldron in the little cage on their way to the gallows. Nah, there's no such thing as witches. That's ridiculous. People are fucking stupid for believing in witches. How could she not be a witch? How could she be a woman who knows about the stars? That's ridiculous.
Now see here, sir. A woman being inclined towards the sciences? Impossible!
Holy shit, I hate this character. So anyways, she escapes from her jail cell, and she's really smug about it, like, yeah, I outsmarted you, I picked the lock because I'm a science girl. Shut the fuck up. She goes and she ends up, like, in some guy's house with, like, telescopes, and the guy sees her and is like, oh my god, a witch, and she's like, oh, I'm not a witch, I know about telescopes. There's like 10 scenes like this in the span of like 2 minutes. She just goes into different people's houses and views their scientific equipment, and they all have the same reaction, oh my god, there's a witch in my house, and she goes, no, I just do my science. What a piece of shit. She's awful. She's the worst person of all time. I think she was hearing them wrong. I don't think they thought she was a witch. I think people were trying to capture her and hang her for being a bitch. I think that's what their problem was, because she goes around and aggressively insults everybody, and all she ever says is, you're a bunch of idiots for not believing in science, you're a bunch of superstitious, backwards chauvinists, and people get so sick of hearing that they put her on, they have like bitch trials, and they go, she's a bitch, hang her, and she's got her head so far up her own ass that she can't hear so good. So when they say bitch, she thinks they're accusing her of being a witch. They're not. They're just calling her a bitch. They want to put her in jail for excessive bitchery. Anyways, she's running from the Navy men. Captain Jack is running from the Navy men. He's got, they're pulling the bank through the streets. It's a big, crazy thing. I don't know what the hell happens, but she gets captured again and Jack gets away. Whatever. So then it cuts to Jack on his little ship. He's got a really crappy ship. He's still carrying the Black Pearl in a bottle from the end of the fourth movie. If anyone in the world remembers the fourth movie, in that movie, the Black Pearl got put into a little bottle. He still has the bottle with the Black Pearl in it, but he doesn't have an actual ship that he can use. He's got this crappy little rickety dinghy boat. It's on some beach somewhere, some hidden boat. And, his crew only has like 5 people left. It's established that Jack is pretty much at his lowest point. Like, he's washed up as a pirate. He's not a big deal anymore. He's had a string of bad luck. He can't catch a break. So they open the vault that they stole, and because of the big chase, they open the vault, and now there's nothing in the vault except for 1 gold piece. That's all there is. And he goes, well, and Jack, he takes the gold piece. The 1 gold piece that's left, he hides it from the crew. He takes it for himself. But the crew says, Jack, you're washed up. We have no money. We're leaving you. So they leave him, and Jack has no crew now. He's got nothing. He's at his lowest point. So Jack goes stumbling through the town, and he like falls in pig shit. He rolls around in the mud. It's raining. He's filthy. He walks into a bar. He just wants a drink. He's totally fucked. He's got nothing to his name. He walks up to the bar. Although, he does have a gold piece, so this part is confusing because he says to the bartender, he's covered in pig shit. He says to the bartender, could I please have a drink? And the bartender says, you gotta give me a piece of silver. And he says, well, I don't got anything, so I have to trade you. I will trade you my magic compass that I've had for, the whole series now. I'll trade you my magic compass just for a bottle of something. Bottle of rum. Now, this didn't make sense because we literally just saw him 2 minutes ago pocket a gold piece. So we know that he has at least 1 piece of gold. The guy only wanted silver. He could have just given him the gold piece. He had a piece. He had money. Not a lot, but he had enough for a drink. He didn't have to trade his fucking most valuable possession. Like, did they write that forgetting that they had just wrote a scene where he pocketed a piece of gold? I don't know. It's stupid. But whatever. I guess he has nothing at all to his name. He has to trade his most valuable possession. He trades his compass for the bottle of rum. Now, he puts the compass in the bar, and there's a great rumbling. The whole world, I guess, is rumbling as soon as he puts down the compass. And that frees Slytherin from his Chamber of Secrets in the Devil's Triangle. It frees him from his mountain prison. The whole mountain crumbles, and so the crew can go out into the sunlight, they can sail again, and he can find Jack Sparrow now, and he can beat him up. So I guess he couldn't escape before. I guess the only way that he could escape and go find Jack Sparrow is if Jack betrays the compass, is how they put it. If Jack gives up his compass, then Slytherin is released from his prison and can come beat him up. So I guess at the beginning of the movie, when Salazar Slytherin cornered Henry on the ship and killed everybody and said, "Go tell Jack Sparrow that I'm gonna come beat him up," I guess that at the time, that was just an empty threat. Like, he didn't really have a plan. He just kills people and he tells them, "Go find Jack Sparrow and tell him someday I'm gonna beat him up," even though, to his knowledge, he will never escape from the Devil's Triangle anyways until Jack betrays the compass. Like, he couldn't have known that, like, he would finally get lucky and Jack would be at his lowest point and give up the compass. So I guess this guy just, like, slaughters entire crews and makes these vague, empty threats to be relayed to Jack Sparrow that he can't actually follow through on necessarily. I guess he does it just to keep the morale up for his crew, because he sunk the ship. He didn't give Henry like a ride to shore. They say in the movie, they say that Henry like rode to shore. He paddled to shore on a piece of driftwood. So even if he could escape, like he's giving a guy this message and then sinking the ship he's on. Like, "You're the last survivor. Go find Jack and tell him this." And by the way, you might actually drown on your way to shore because you're gonna have to paddle on a piece of driftwood. So no wonder this message has never gotten to Jack before now. And also, like, how does he expect anyone to find Jack Sparrow? I mean, this is not like the internet age. Jack Sparrow doesn't have a Facebook. All you can do is go sail around the Caribbean and hang out in pirate bars and hope that, like, this is the 1 out of 1,000 bars on the 1 out of 1,000,000 days that Jack Sparrow will walk in. It's totally ridiculous. It makes no goddamn sense. It's the stupidest movie ever made. But anyways, Jack betrays the compass, and that frees Salazar Slytherin from his watery prison. And so then Jack goes out, and he's about to drink his drink, but then the drink gets shot, and Jack gets arrested by the Navy, and they put him in jail. So then while he's in jail, that's when Henry finds him. And Henry says, "Hey, Jack Sparrow, I'm Will Turner's son, and I need your help to free my father from the curse of the Dutchman." And Jack Sparrow says, "Your father was a gay bitch." "But okay, I'll help you." No, at first he refuses to help him, but then Henry brings up Slytherin and the message, and then that spooks Jack, and he goes, "Okay, now I'll help you because I'm spooked by that guy." So they're at the gallows, and this is where all three of our main protagonists are meeting for the first time, all in the same place at the first time. Jack is on the guillotine, about to get his head cut off. He's strapped to it. The girl is about to get hung, and Henry is swinging around in a rope trying to save them. Mr. Gibbs shows up with the crew. They abandon Jack, but it turns out they're still friends with him. They didn't really abandon him. They lied. They came back at the last minute to save him. They have a cannon. They blow up the guillotine. There's a big fight. There's a really, really fun, imaginative little sequence where Jack is strapped to the guillotine, but it's like spinning around and around. And as it's spinning around, the blade is coming down up almost to his neck and going back up. And it's like, oh no, it's fun. It's a fun scene. They fight. There's a big fight. So they all get together on a crew and they go out. The girl has got this journal from her father that she never knew. It's a journal with a little crystal on it, a little ruby, and it supposedly has the location of Poseidon's trident or whatever. So they go out in Jack's crappy little ship and they sail out into the ocean and they start their adventure. Then it cuts to Captain Barbossa. He's got like a fleet of 10 ships. He's basically taken over the entire Caribbean. So Captain Barbossa is hanging out in his captain's quarters. He's listening to music. He's having a good time. He's polishing his wooden leg. And two like sidekicks come in, like the two comic relief pirate sidekicks for this movie. Not Ragetti and Pintel. They are not in this movie for some reason. I don't know why they didn't bring them back, but they were not in this movie. It's two new comic relief characters. They're not as cool, but they come in and they go, "Captain, there's a spooky guy. He's got a crew of spooky dukes. He's got a crew of Babadooks. He's sailing around. He's killing people. He's already sunk like 3 of your ships. He's killing pirates. He says he's looking for Captain Jack Sparrow. And Captain Barbossa's like, oh, god damn it, I gotta find Captain Jack Sparrow now. So, Captain Jack Sparrow, he goes, and he sails around until he finds the guy. He finds the Spooky Duke ship, and he sails right at it, because Captain Barbossa has no fear. He's the coolest and bravest and strongest man. The Spooky ship, it does this thing where it comes, like, out of the water, like, vertically, and then the bottom of the ship opens up like the fucking gaping dragon from Dark Souls, and it like slams down and it eats other ships, which is pretty fucking cool. Especially in the IMAX theater. Like, it feels like I am on the ship that's about to get eaten. Like, it's going to eat me, and I'm freaking out, and I'm shitting my pants. My eyeballs are popping out of my skull. I am in this movie. But, yeah, he's gonna eat Barbossa's ship. But Barbossa says, hey, wait, don't eat me yet. I'm gonna help you find Captain Jack Sparrow so you can beat him up. I know that's what you want. I'm gonna help you find him. Don't eat me yet. So the guy comes aboard the ship. He goes, fuck you. I'm gonna kill a bunch of your crewmates. I'm gonna kill, like, half your crew. And then if you don't help me find Jack Sparrow by tomorrow, then I'm gonna kill you. And Captain Barbossa says, okay. So Captain Barbossa, they're sailing around, they're trying to find Jack. Captain Barbossa says, you know, I guess they get on the topic of conversation of just why this guy has this grudge against Jack in the first place. And there's this big flashback sequence to, like, you know, 1 trillion years ago, where we get to see, like, the Robert Downey Jr. young face version of Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow. He's a young boy, he's a strapping young lad. And this tells a story not only of, like, of why this guy hates Jack, it also tells, like, the entire story of how he became Captain Jack Sparrow. Like, this is only, like, a 5-minute sequence. But, like, in this 5 minute flashback, they gave an origin to, like, every aspect of Captain Jack Sparrow ever that you could possibly wonder about. Everything about Jack Sparrow gets an origin story. It all happened, like, on one day. It gives the origin of how he got his compass. It gives the origin of how he got his name, Jack Sparrow. It gives the origin of how he became captain. It gives the origin of where he got his hat. It gives an origin of, like, the stuff that he wears in his hair, like the beads and the bone. Even, like, the bone that he wears in his dreadlocks has an origin story. Like, it says everything. Like, it's young Jack, and he's fighting Slytherin when Slytherin was a human man, and the pirate dies, and he gives Jack the compass. He says, this is the magic compass, Jack. Don't ever betray the compass, or that guy is going to come back as a ghoul and beat you up. And Jack goes, yeah, whatever, man. I don't give a shit. I'm a dumb little boy. And then he's flittering around in the crow's nest. And he describes him, he was flittering around like a bird, like a little sparrow, and from that day he became known as Jack Sparrow. Jack the Sparrow. And then he gets the compass, and he tricks the guy into going into the Devil's Triangle. The guy blows up, his ship blows up, he becomes a ghoul, and everyone on the ship says, Jack, you saved us from that guy, you're the captain now, we're gonna make you the captain of the ship now, and here we're going to pay you tribute. They give him his hat, they give him his signature hat, they give him the beads, they give him the bone. Everything gets an origin story. All of this happened in, like, the span of 5 minutes. He went from a normal pirate guy, like a regular cabin boy without a name, to the legendary Captain Jack Sparrow. Every element of his character was thrust upon him within the span of, like, 5 minutes fighting the Slytherin guy fucking 50 years ago. Oh, I need a drink. Oh, God, where the hell was I? I keep having to pause the recording to go drink tea and pee, and where the hell was I? So the guy finds Jack Sparrow's ship. He finds him. Everyone's there. They go off. They escape on a little rowboat. They're trying to. So Jack and the girl and the boy, they're all on a little rowboat. They're trying to get to shore. The girl swims to shore, and then the boy swims to shore. Jack's alone in the rowboat, and Slytherin is coming with. He's got sharks now. He's coming after Jack Sparrow. the guys are running after him. The spooky crew is running on top of the water, which is really cool and really spooky and really scary. But he's also got these scary zombie sharks. And he sends the fucking zombie sharks at Jack Sparrow, who is still quite a ways from shore in this little crappy little rowboat. Now, Jack Sparrow, he's gotten out of some pretty sticky situations in the past. But this was the one. This was finally the one where I thought to myself, this is it. Captain Jack's dead. He's not getting out of this one. He's fucking doomed. He's got scary men, scary spooky dukes running at him on the water, and he's got zombie sharks coming at him. The zombie sharks are like eating the rowboat out from under him. They're coming up and trying to bite at him. Can you think of anything more deadly? A more deadly combination, a scarier combination than zombie sharks? Like, the first movie had pirate ghosts, and that's a pretty deadly combination. Pirates and ghosts, that's pretty scary. But then, you know, the next couple of movies had, like, lobster men. And that's an even scarier combination. The two things that are scarier than pirates and ghosts are lobsters and men. And so lobster men is like an even deadlier combination. But this movie, zombie sharks, that is the most deadly combination of scary things imaginable. Jack's not getting out of this one. He's fucking doomed. These guys are running at him on the water. You know, the Babadook crew's coming at him. The zombie sharks are eating his rowboat out from under him. They're gonna eat him. They're snapping at him. They're jumping over. How the hell is he gonna get out of this one? There's no fucking way. Well, here's what he does. He takes, like, the anchor for the little, just a little, like a little tiny anchor for this little rowboat, and he starts beating one of the zombie sharks with the anchor. He, like, throws a dress or something into the water, and that distracts him for a little while, because zombie sharks are pretty stupid. It's a deadly combination, but it's also a stupid combination, because the two things that are stupidest in the world also happen to be zombies and sharks, apparently. So the dress he throws in the water distracts him for a little while, but they come back. When he's fighting the zombie sharks in the little rowboat, they're biting the rowboat. So he starts hitting the zombie shark with the anchor, and the zombie shark says, "Oh, stop it, you son of a bitch!" And so then, like, the anchor gets in the zombie shark's mouth somehow, and it, like, hooks it. And so the zombie shark, like, freaks out and swims away, and then he takes the rope from the anchor, he ties it to the front of the rowboat. So now he's got it so that the shark is actually pulling the canoe, the rowboat, towards the shore. So he's using the sharks against themselves. He's using the sharks, the zombie sharks, to escape from the running on the water scary guys. He's being pulled by the zombie shark at Mach speeds all the way to shore. That was pretty clever. I couldn't have thought of that. If I was being attacked by, you know, spooky dukes running on water and zombie sharks, I wouldn't even, you know, my strategy, I would just shit my pants and hope that the zombie sharks don't want to eat shit. That's all I could think to do, and then it wouldn't even be a plan. It would be a totally involuntary loosening of the bowels out of fear. But Captain Jack Sparrow, he's a wily, he's a slippery son of a bitch. So he's getting pulled by the shark. Now he gets to the water, to the shore. He's on the beach, and the guys come at him, and they're just about to kill him. But it turns out the spooky guys cannot walk on land. They can't do it. If they set foot on land, they evaporate and they die. So Jack says, "Fuck you! I'm on the beach, and you can get me. Suck my dick." And he goes off and he runs into the woods, and the spooky guys and the zombie sharks are like, "Oh, curse you, Jack Sparrow! We'll get you. We'll get you. You got to come back to the water sometime." So he just fucks off and he just leaves them all there standing around in the water like a bunch of assholes. So I guess they, like, shuffle off back to their ship all dejected, like, he got us. So now Jack's on the island. He gets captured in a net. Everyone gets captured in a net. And it's like this like weird little society of marooned pirates has captured him on this island. And they get him and they say, "Jack, you owe me a debt. I'm an old pirate. I was marooned on this island. I don't fucking know. You gotta marry my sister. You gotta marry this big, fat, ugly woman. She's gross." And Jack, you know, he's like, "Ooh, I don't want to marry a big, fat, ugly woman." It's a comical scene. He's getting forced to marry a big, fat, ugly woman. And of course, if you look on Rotten Tomatoes right now, the first review is like, this movie is deeply misogynistic and deeply sexist. How dare Captain Jack Sparrow not want to marry a big, fat, ugly woman? That's just horrible. Every man should be honored to have a chance to marry a big, fat, ugly woman. I got a commenter like that quite recently, actually, on one of my videos. He went on a huge, insane tirade about what a terrible person I am because I mentioned in a Let's Play that I'm, like, not attracted to really big, fat, ugly women. And that was, like, the most offensive thing that any man can possibly say. How dare you, as a man, not be attracted to big, fat, ugly women? You have to be attracted to big, fat, ugly broads, or else you're a sexist. That's the law. This movie is deeply misogynistic. 0% tomato score, 1,000,000 thumbs down, tropes versus women, F-. This movie's problematic as fuck. And that's why I love it. Yeah! So Jack is just about to be forced to marry this big, fat, ugly broad. But then all of a sudden, kablamo! It's a gunshot and Barbossa's there with like 5 guys. And you have to wonder, how in the fuck did Captain Barbossa, with his 1 leg and his 5 guys, manage to, like, show up at this reception in broad daylight without anyone noticing that he was coming over there until he was right there in the place shooting his gun? How did he... It was like... He just appeared there. He just fucking Captain Barbossa, the 1-legged man, and a bunch of guys just appeared there. No one saw them walking along the beach up to the fucking thing in broad daylight. Whatever. Makes no sense. Absolutely retarded. But anyways, they say, Captain Barbossa says to Jack, "Hey Jack, I came to get you, to deliver you to Salazar Slytherin, and he's gonna beat you up. But I'm actually planning on double-crossing him, because fuck him. So I guess we're on the same team for now, sort of, today." And Jack says, "Okay." And they go, and he says, "We need the pearl." So he takes the black pearl out of the little bottle that is in Jack's pocket. I wonder why the black pearl did not get confiscated by the Navy when Jack got arrested earlier in the movie. When they put him in jail, you'd think they would notice that he has like a magical ship in a bottle in his coat pocket, but whatever. So they get him the black pearl, and of course, you know, Barbossa ties Jack up to the mast. Jack's tied up, and he's sitting there, you know, "Why you tying me up? Why you do this?" And Barbossa says, "Because I'm an asshole, Jack. I be an asshole. I be the biggest asshole in the world, Jack. I'm fucking Captain Barbossa. I'm the best guy. I'm evil. Sometimes, but maybe I'm not. Yar. Suck my dick, Jack. I'm fucking Captain Barbossa. Captain Hector Barbossa, Jack." So anyways, they're on the Black Pearl, and they're sailing around, and Jack's tied up to the mast, and Jack's saying, "Why are we on the water? The guy can only get us on the water. He can't get us on the land, so why are we sailing on the water?" And Barbossa's like, "Because... shut up! I'm fucking Barbossa, and I sail on ships. This is what I fucking do." So they're sailing on the ship, and the girl is, you know, she's doing her shtick. "I'm a scientist. I'm not a witch. All men are stupid. I'm a science girl. Girls can do science too. I know about the stars, and I can navigate us to the fucking trident, and I can take us here because I had this journal from my father with a ruby in it." And Captain Barbossa looks at the ruby, and he looks at the journal, and he goes, "Oh shit, what's your name?" And she goes, "This is my name, bloobity blue." And Captain Barbossa goes, "Oh no, this be my fucking daughter. This be my illegitimate bastard daughter. How could she have, what a cruel twist of happenstance this be. Surely this will be the catalyst to my redemption as a character. Perhaps I'll finally become a good boy. This is my arc for the movie. I have a daughter now. I'm Barbossa." So then, you know, they're on the ship. Barbossa is not, he's keeping it a secret. Jack knows, but it's a secret. He's not telling the girl that he's her dad yet. But, my daughter! My daughter! That's Barbossa's arc for this movie. His arc is, my daughter! My daughter! His arc is, my daughter!
my daughter. My daughter. My daughter, Jack. My daughter. My daughter, Jack.
That's his arc. His arc for the movie is my daughter, Jack.
My daughter. My daughter. My daughter, Jack.
So, anyways, they're on the ship, and fucking Slytherin shows up. So there's a big fight now. He's there. There's a huge battle. Everyone's fighting. It's a rainstorm. Like the figurehead on Slytherin's ship comes to life. It's a big, like a wooden man, starts chasing Jack around. Jack is like hopping on the cannons in the rain. I don't know how he like doesn't slip and die, but you know, that's what these movies are. There's a huge battle. It's a big like 15-minute battle, and at some point during this, I like completely spaced out. Like the sensory overload of me being hopped up on all this caffeine and sitting in this IMAX prison, this noise dungeon, being like Malcolm McDowell, Ludovico techniqued into this piratey realm all around me, smothering my brain and drowning my soul. I just completely lost the plot for a bit. And I just stopped being alive, I think. Like, it felt like I blacked out, like I time traveled to like 5 minutes ahead in the movie. Because suddenly, they're not fighting anymore, and they're on the island that they were searching for, where the trident supposedly is. And they're looking at the star map, and the island itself is a map, and there's rubies everywhere, and she's got to put the ruby next to the other rubies to, you know, reveal the thing. And like for me, they were just on a ship fighting in a rainstorm, and now they're on the island, and it's like my brain shat the bed, and I time traveled a little bit. So I'm like, whoa, what? Okay, I guess they survived the battle. I don't fucking know. So she puts the ruby in the thing, and you know, everything, it activates the fucking the world. Because that's how the world works. If you put a magical trinket in its designated magical trinket hole somewhere in the world, the earth itself will shift. You know, it's video game logic. It'll open and reveal the next area that you need to go to. The entire Pirates of the Caribbean universe operates on Tomb Raider logic. They might be a shared universe. I believe that Pirates of the Caribbean, the movie franchise, definitely takes place in the same universe as Tomb Raider and Indiana Jones and all those kind of, you know, all that whole genre of put the mystical artifact in the right hole and reveal the next level genre of fiction. The best genre. The genre that I most wish was real life. And that's what I do in my actual everyday life. I'm constantly searching for mystical artifacts. I'm constantly putting things in other things, hoping that, like, I'll chance upon the right magical trinket in the right magical trinket hole and reveal to myself, like a lost city or a cursed treasure or something. I am constantly Nathan Draking my way through a world woefully bereft of magic. That would be my movie. I'm gonna write that screenplay. A modern day tragedy. It's just like an Indiana Jones, Uncharted, Tomb Raider style genre of movie, but in our actual world, where there is no magic and nothing cool and nothing fun, and the main character is just this globe-trotting adventurer looking for the next adventure that never happens. Because there's nothing cool in the real world. He just goes from place to place, sitting in bars and having, like, regular days. That's my fucking parody satire film that I'm gonna make. What the fuck was I talking about? A Pirates of the Caribbean, Part 5. Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Where am I? Who am I? What is a man?
So they found the thing, they put the thing in the thing, and the water, the ocean splits right down the middle, like Moses, and so they're in this, the chasm between where the ocean split, and that's where the trident is, and they find Poseidon's trident. After all that talk and ballyhoo about how it was impossible to find, they actually found it relatively quickly and easily, it seems like. They sailed for one day, they had a few fights, and they're already here. All it took was Science Girl going, "That's the North Star, go that way." They fucking, with her amazing powers of science, the smartest woman in the world, the smartest woman in history, able to navigate by looking at the stars, which every sailor in the world can also do. She had no actual purpose in this movie, because her big talent was something that every sailor in history knows how to do. By the way, if Barbossa's her father, and she got the journal from her father before he left her at the orphanage all those years ago, then that means that Barbossa wrote the journal that said where to find Poseidon's trident. So, why did he know this? Why did he write it in a journal and leave it with his baby infant daughter in an orphanage? Like, did I miss something? Like, if Barbossa knew all those years ago where the trident was, then why didn't he himself go and get it? Why did he put a little ruby in a book, in a journal, and leave it on the footsteps of an orphanage with the fucking infant? What the fuck is going on? But anyways, they're at the bottom of the ocean, and the ocean is split. There's walls of water. They're in this, like, chasm. They're all racing to the fucking trident. It's a really cool set piece. It's really amazing and big, and, especially, again, I keep in mind that I'm in a fucking IMAX theater in a fucking, in an altered state of consciousness beyond the perception of mere mortals. I have ascended to a new plane of existence, sitting in this theater with all these Red Bulls and espressos and Guile Sonic Booms in me. My heartbeat is going so fast still that I am, like, speed forcing through all possible realities and universes and timelines. I can see, like, different butterfly effect lines of causality and, like, peer into different universes where I made different decisions in my life. I'm traveling back to the beginning of time and creating the universe. And I'm traveling forward to the end of time and destroying the universe and creating it again. I am God. I have become God because of this concoction of superpowered fuels inside my cells, unlocking new areas of my brain that mankind has yet to utilize before. I am watching this Pirates of the Caribbean movie. They're at the bottom of the ocean, in a chasm where the ocean is split. I am right there with them. I have become God. Again. As I tend to do. So they're all racing and fighting to get to the trident. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, there was a really weird and completely pointless subplot about, like, Slytherin briefly possessed the body of Henry. Very briefly. I mean, like, for literally 2 minutes. Just so that he could walk, on the land at the bottom of the sea, I guess, and fight Jack. But as soon as he touches the trident, he's able to walk there. Someone figures out that the trident is like is what controls, like, all the magical ocean curses in the world, I guess. So Slytherin assumes that by touching the trident he will be able to come out of the kid's body and be himself again, but this time be able to walk on land, sort of. And then also at some point during this fight, the kid deduces that by shattering the trident and breaking it, they will undo every curse ever in the history of the seas. I don't know how he figured this out. I don't know where he made this leap of logic. And also, he's, like, saying this in the middle of a huge fight with all this cacophonous noise around. You can't even, like, hear what they're saying over the sound of the action scene that's going on. Like, their voices are drowned out by the movie itself and just barely audible by all the music and the swords and the shouting and the clashing of the waves and the waters. Like, this makes absolutely no sense. If you're watching this scene in the mindset of, like, I'm a professional critic and every movie has to be like a grounded, has to make sense narratively, then you're gonna be watching this and you're just never gonna have a boner again, because it's going to ruin your life as a man forever, because you won't be able to wrap your head around this masterpiece of a film that doesn't give a fuck if anything makes sense. You know, that's why these critics hate these kind of movies so much. They go see them, and because they're so old, like, they've lost their dinosaur, like in Step Brothers. They've grown up, they've lost that part of themselves that allows themselves to just, like, be a kid and just go with it and just, like, have imagination. They've lost that part of themselves, and they're just an old, boring, stuffy adult now, so they can't wrap their head around this kind of cool stuff. So they see a movie like this, and all this crazy shit is happening that doesn't necessarily make sense in any rational or narratively coherent way, and they're looking at this as like this stuffy old boring man who's lost their dinosaur, and they're realizing as they're watching it, I will never have a boner again, because I can't have fun. Movies like this make critics impotent, and that's why they get bad reviews. The number one cause of impotence in older men is losing your dinosaur and not enjoying cool movies. Because if you can't enjoy a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, then how can you please a woman? I ask of you. And the answer is you can't. If you go into a bookstore and you go to the adult section and you look up like the How to Be a Good Lover books, and you open them up and you go to the chapter called How to Make a Woman Orgasm, all it is just a quiz testing your knowledge of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. And then a scale at the bottom where you fill in a circle from 1 to 10 of your enjoyment of these movies. And if your enjoyment of these movies is anything below a 10, then you can never please a woman. That's just the way it is. That's just science. It's not witchcraft. There's no such thing as witchcraft. It's science. And it's witchcraft. And it's magic. And it's wizardry. And it's wizardry. All known sciences and magics of the universe all coalesce on this one point. That is uncontested and indisputable. Every single force of the universe is in agreement on this one topic. If you don't like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, then you are impotent. God wrote that in the Bible. It's on one of the slabs that Moses, dropped. Like one of the lost annals of the Bible. It's in the Dead Sea Scrolls that are like hidden 50 miles below the Vatican in a top secret vault in a bunker in a hidden city that only the Pope can access. You will find the Ark of the Covenant, and within it there is a stone slab onto which is etched God's final message to the people of Earth. And it says, if you don't like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, then you are impotent, and you will never please a woman. If you can't accept these movies unquestioningly, on faith alone, just as you accept I, your God, unquestioningly and on faith alone, then you are banished from the kingdom of heaven and will have to sit outside the pearly gates for all eternity when you die, and be passed by all the women that you failed to please as they go through the gates into paradise, and you sit out there on the outside of the gates, sitting in the clouds, ineffectively jacking your flaccid dong and crying. And your tears will be the rain that creates the oceans on which Captain Jack Sparrow sails towards his next adventure. All of that is etched onto this stone tab and these Dead Sea Scrolls that are in the Ark of the Covenant under the Vatican, or whatever the fuck I said. So they're having this big gigantic fight, and the bad dude's got the trident. He's commanding like water vortexes to throw Jack around and slam him into coral, and like Jack should be dead. The amount of punishment that this man's body has taken over the course of this movie, over the course of all these movies, he should be, by all rights, a cripple. But he's fine, everyone in this movie is impervious to everything. Henry runs up, he breaks the trident, it breaks all the curses. Throughout this whole sequence, this whole gigantic battle, I kept thinking, like, where the fuck is Will? Like, isn't he, like, the Lord of all oceans? Shouldn't he, like, show up on the Dutchman, like, hey, like, shouldn't he know that this is happening right now? And shouldn't he show up on the Dutchman and, like, help his son fight this, like, scary Babadook man? He's nowhere to be seen. He doesn't give a shit. You know, like, I just kept waiting for the Dutchman to, like, show up, like, through this wall of water, and all the lobster men to come out, and for, like, Will to save the day, like, hey, that's my kid. Step off, spooky man. Fuck you. And, like, I don't know, pinch his dick off with one of your lobster man hands. Throw barnacles at him like shurikens. Like batarangs. Barnacle rangs. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy are there. They're on the Dutchman. They're part of the crew. Anyways, they break the trident. So every curse ever is lifted, I guess. And it works out well. I mean, it just, like, it turns the spooky man back into a living man. It ends, like, every curse. I mean, you'd think that, like, that would kill Will Turner, right? Because isn't his heart in a box somewhere? So it lifts the curse, and it makes him human again, but now he's a living human with no heart. His heart is in a box. Wouldn't he just drop dead? Doesn't matter. The answer is don't think about it. So all the curses are lifted, and the dude is a mortal man now, and he's, you know, so they're all trying to get out of this chasm. There's like a chain for a ship, a rope or a chain. They're all climbing up this chain, trying to get out of the, you know, back up onto the ship to get the fuck out of there. They're like racing up the chain. Like Jack is climbing, Barbossa's climbing, the girl's climbing, the guy's climbing, and Slytherin is like climbing after all of them. Like, you're not getting away. I'm gonna climb up this chain and beat you up still. I'm not done beating you up, Jack. I'll beat you up for all eternity. So, they're climbing up this chain, and this is when the girl sees the tattoo on Barbossa's arm, which is the same design as the one in the journal, and that's how she realizes, oh my god, Barbossa is my daddy, and Barbossa says, my daughter! And he lets go, and he plummets down, and he stabs his sword into Salazar Slytherin and takes him down into the watery depths with him. So, Captain Barbossa, he sacrifices his life to save his daughter. He goes out like a hero. Great death. There was this great line. It was really, really effectively emotional. There was this great line where she sees a tattoo and she realizes that she's his daughter, and she says, what am I to you? And he goes, treasure, right before he plummets down and stabs the sword into Slytherin. Because Barbossa's whole, like, subplot in this movie is that, you know, fuck this guy for stealing his treasure. Because he had this fleet of, like, 10 ships and all this gold, and the guy is sinking his ships. And he goes, I'm a fucking pirate, how dare you, fuck you, for taking my treasure. So the whole movie, Captain Barbossa is going on about his treasure, and fuck this guy for taking it and sinking his ships. But then, you know, the girl says, what am I to you? And he says, treasure. And he goes down, and he goes out like a fucking hero. And, you know, that, what a great series of movies. How cool is that Captain Barbossa, the guy who started the franchise out as, like, the main villain of the first movie, you know, he's a beloved character, and he's now gets to go out at the end as a hero. I don't know if this sacrifice at the end necessarily redeems him from a life of pillaging and plundering and raping and killing as a pirate, but yes, it absolutely does, because it's cool. My daughter! It was fucking sweet. He stabs Slytherin, and he plummets down into the watery depths, falling. And as he's falling, his final words, my daughter! What a great death. That's exactly how I want to die. Plummeting to my death in a magical split ocean, fighting a spooky, scary monster man to save my daughter. So, then, you know, the day is saved, I guess, and that's, so the kid has succeeded, he's lifted all curses, so then, you know, Jack, he's got the pearl now, everything's in its right place, it cuts to the kid and the girl, you know, they're together now, I guess. Sort of a really, like, underdeveloped and pointless love plot between these two characters. It didn't need to be in the movie, they didn't need to hook up, but, you know, whatever. It cuts to them, they're together, I guess, they're on this place. So they're there, and they're waiting, and then Will Turner shows up. He shows up, and he's not cursed anymore. He's not the commander of the Dutchman anymore. He no longer has barnacles on his face. He shows up, he's a regular guy again. He goes, son, you saved me, you lifted the curse, how did you do it? It's this really, like, happy, like, yeah, this heartwarming moment. You sort of have to ignore the question on the front of your mind, which is, why didn't you show up to help us during the battle when you had the spooky Dutchman powers? But, whatever. Apparently Will just has no idea that this happened. Like, the whole time it was happening, he was fucking off somewhere else on the bottom of the ocean, none the wiser, right? He's doing his lobster man thing, hanging out with his crew, and all of a sudden, like, he just becomes human again. The curse is just lifted, and I guess the ship, the Dutchman, becomes a regular ship and goes to the top of the water, and he's like, oh, well, I wonder what the fuck happened. I'm a regular guy again. I guess I better go back to my little green grassy field and see if my son's there and ask him what happened. I'm sure he got up to some kind of antics with Captain Jack Sparrow. Lifted me from this curse. I'm going to ask him all about it. So, Will Turner comes over the hill. He sees his son. And he goes, oh, you lifted the curse. Wow, tell me all about it. What a great time. And then, over the other hill, you see none other than Elizabeth Turner. She's there too. She makes a cameo right at the end. And she comes over the hill, and it's this big, Will gets to see his woman now. They get to be together at last for real as regular people. He's not cursed anymore. She comes over the hill. It's just like fucking Shadow coming over the hill at the end of Homeward Bound. Only not quite as effective, but the same basic concept. So they all get their happy ending. And then it cuts to Jack. He's watching them through a telescope from the Black Pearl. He goes, oh, that's, ew, cooties, gross, romance in my fucking pirate movies. This is my franchise. Fuck off, Legolas. So then he goes and he sails off into the sunset. He's got his compass back. He's got Barbossa's monkey now. He still hates the monkey. He's still creeped out by it, but he's got the pearl. He's sailing off in the Black Pearl into the sunset towards new adventures. Everything's in its right place, and that's how the movie ends. Everyone gets their happy ending, and, there are more adventures in store for Captain Jack Sparrow. His story is not yet complete, and good. I hope they make 10 million more of these movies. I hope they make another Pirates of the Caribbean movie every year for the rest of my life. It's the greatest franchise in the history of cinema, and I hope it just keeps getting more and more ridiculous and retarded forever. 10 out of 10, it's a masterpiece. Oh, and apparently there's a post-credits scene, too, which I didn't even see because I didn't know there would be one. We left the fucking theater! I'm sick of this shit! They gotta have, like, a warning or something. They should tell you! It should say on your ticket, by the way, this movie has a post-credits thing. Man, I'm so over the post-credits thing. This trend needs to die immediately. I'm sick of it. But apparently there was a post-credits scene where fucking Will is with Elizabeth and they're sleeping and they get woken up by like Davy Jones or something, and that's like setting up whatever, man. Whatever. Fucking post-credit scenes. Suck my dick. But anyways, that's Pirates of the Caribbean Part 5. It's a masterpiece. It's the best movie. It's the best thing. I know that, like, a lot of people said that, like, the fourth movie wasn't that good. I mean, I always thought that, like, the third movie was the weakest. I thought that the fourth movie was, like, a return to form after the third movie. But everybody else seems to think that, like, the fourth movie was the low point. But, I mean, I don't know. I think they're all enjoyable. Like, even the worst of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies is still fun. And this movie was great. So, here's what it is. Because the series started out so strong with the first movie. It's like every franchise that goes on just gets stupider and more asinine with each subsequent film in the franchise. And eventually it gets to the point where a lot of people go, oh, this is too stupid for me. I'm getting off. I'm jumping ship on the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. A pun intended. I think a lot of people, like, jump ship at the fourth movie, like, oh, this is jumping the shark now. A pun intended. This series has gone way overboard at this point. A pun intended. But if you stick with it past that point, past the point of, like, critical retardation, then a new phenomenon happens where, like, once it gets over that hump, it's free to become even more retarded to the point where the retardation starts working in its favor. Like, any franchise that goes on long enough, it gets stupider and stupider until it reaches a critical point where no one can take it seriously anymore, and everyone says, this franchise has gotten ridiculous. But then past that point, it starts to get so retarded that it becomes awesome again. And it gets greater and it gets more and more cool with each movie. You know, I saw the same phenomenon in the Transformers trailer that came before the movie. Like, I haven't seen a Transformers movie since the first one, and even that one I thought was fucking shitty. I fucking hate the Transformers, but you know, I'm watching this trailer before the movie for, like, Transformers 6 or 7 or whatever the hell number they're on now, and it's like the whole world is at war with the Decepticons, like, and then there's, like, introducing, like, a time travel element. Like, Optimus Prime is, like, going back and forth in time throughout all human history, and there's, like, this, like, ghost girl, like, floating around talking to like, this robot ghost girl, and this, like, who's, like, the god of the Autobots or something. I have no idea what the fuck this franchise, but it looks, like, enjoyable. It looks so stupid at this point. Like, the Transformers franchise has gotten so retarded that you can't even dislike it anymore. Like, you have to just go with it. Like, yeah, of course they're going back and forth in time. Of course there's a floating robot god girl who created the Autobots. Of course there is. So that's Pirates of the Caribbean Part 5. That's the video. That's it. Oh, after the film, this was interesting. Here's an interesting tidbit. I went to the bathroom after the film, and I went to the bathroom right before the film because I had, downed all those drinks, right? So I go in the bathroom, and of course I catch myself in the mirror, and I look like a fucking insane person because I've got this insane fuck-off beard, and, like, I've got my hair in this fucking weird pirate braid. I look like a maniac. Like, I look like a Spooky Duke pirate man who just crawled up from the bottom of the sea to conquer the earth, which is accurate. But, before the movie started, I went to the bathroom and I peed in the urinal, and I didn't flush because I don't like touching the flusher. It's, gross, grimy, germy. So then I went to the theater, and then after the movie was over, I came out and went to the bathroom again and went to the same urinal, and my pee was still there, so I peed on my own pee like 2.5 hours later and added to it. So, like, that was like a perfect metaphor for this franchise and for how this franchise is now in the 5th iteration of itself. It's just like peeing on top of your own pee. It's weird, and it's asinine, and it doesn't make any sense, but for whatever reason, it's so satisfying. That's my analogy. Pirates of the Caribbean Part 5, Dead Men Tell No Tales, is like peeing on your own pee. So in other words, you best start believing in Pirates of the Caribbean Part 5, Dead Men Tell No Tales. You're in one.
Glorious! No, I won't give in till I'm victorious.